Okay, hi everyone. My name is Ivan and I come from Croatia. I'm doing competitive programming for probably the last 10 years. So I was invited to come here and tell you a little bit more about myself, about competitions in Croatia, how to prepare, and maybe talk about some concrete topic regarding competitions. So it will be 3 hours long lecture, and I decided to divide it into 45 minutes plus 15 minutes parts, like 15 minutes break parts, so that we don't get bored and we can go to the toilet, and we can also discuss things in these breaks. So first I'll tell you a little bit more about myself, and then later I'll tell you about Mexico programs. Okay, so first I'll tell you my story first. So in Croatia we have these school competitions for kids, and then regional competitions, national competitions, and then they are all like elimination stages. So if you pass school competition, you go to regional. If you pass regional, you go to national. Then you pass that, you go to something like National Olympiad, and then if you pass that, then you can try to qualify for IOI or CodeIT. It's probably very similar to all your countries. So when I was in 6th grade, I had a computer, but I didn't know anything about programming. I didn't have any idea about it. And I had an older friend who was going to gymnasium, and they had a programming course where they were using Pascal, Turbo Pascal probably, or Pascal, you probably heard about it. It's a very old language. And he had a book about Pascal programming language. Somehow I got the book from him and I started reading it. Then I learned, these basic things like variables, printing, if statement, for loops, not much. And somehow I don't remember how, but I ended up going to one of these school competitions. And I did well, I sold everything. Then they advanced to regional competition. There also, I sold everything, I advanced to national competition. And like in the whole country, there was only 3 people who sold everything. So I thought, great, I know something. It wasn't suspicious to me that, with only solid preparation, I managed to advance national competition. But I thought, I'm good, I know something. But then national competition came, and I came there. First problem, something easy, I solved it. Sorry, I heard. And then second problem, I read it, and it says you are given n numbers, and then do something with that. Like array of numbers, do something with it. And I didn't know what an array is, so I was like, how do you do this? How do you read n variables? Didn't have any idea how to do it. I mean, my own idea was to have something like, if n equals 1, then make one variable and read it, then else do something. But of course I didn't do it because n was probably up to 100 or something. So I didn't solve that problem. There was one more problem, and that one was even worse. There was matrix. So it was so even more possibilities. And I was like, this is impossible. How do you do this? So I solved only first problem, and after I saw results after the competition, I saw that these guys who solved everything at the regional competition, like me, that they had like much higher scores. They solved like even this project, maybe third one as well. And I ended up last. So then I realized that I actually didn't know anything. So I just passed national competition with knowing ifs and basic for loops, but without arrays and matrices. Okay, and then, so that was basically 6th grade. I was 13, 14. Next year I was 7th grade. I tried to learn a little bit more about it, but I think I still didn't know about arrays and matrices. Maybe I learned about arrays, I don't remember. I went to these regional competitions again. I didn't pass to national. because in 7th grade is like harder things that you learn new. Then in 8th grade I prepared a little bit more. I learned about all these things. I passed to national competition. I took, I think, 5th place, nothing special. And then, no, I forgot to say, I'm from some, let's say, rural part of Croatia where there is no other kids doing this competition, so I didn't really have anyone to talk to learn from, like people from capital. So then after this primary school, somehow I got into one of these summer camps. In Croatia we have summer camps and winter camps. And there's 2 of them, like one for high school students, one for primary school students. So after my primary school, I went to one for primary schoolers. There were only primary school kids and teachers, so I didn't really learn much new. But I did learn about some new resources and websites where I could practice. So I practiced, and in 1st grade of high school, I just finished competition. I was 4th, but I still used Pascal. That was the problem. Everyone else used C++, but I used Pascal because I'm from remote part of Croatia where no one knows C++. And then after 1st year of high school, I went to high school camp, and that was probably the breaking point of my competitions career, because at high school camp, teachers were guys who were going to IOIs and COIs, winning gold medals. They knew all the newest tricks. They knew C++ stuff. So while I was there, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about all the possibilities. I met all these great people. I got their, I connected with them, got their Google Hangouts, their emails and so on. They showed me the sport. You probably know about it. So after that camp, I just went here and started solving all the problems that I could find. I think I solved, in a few months I solved like 400 or 500 of them. When I would not know how to solve something, I would usually be able to find in the list of solvers someone from these guys, these older guys from Croatia, to solve it, and I could just go and ask them. They would be patient. They would explain to me everything, and I would be able to solve it myself. And then in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade, I won national competitions. I went to IOI. First time I won silver, 2nd time I won gold. But yeah, I was just solving these problems. That was basically. And I switched to C++, of course. Last time pretty much. Alright, so that's basically how more or less competition career looks for high school people, high school primary school people in Croatia. But for junior competitions, we don't have any kind of tradition or system to do stuff. So when I went to university, I was told about these student competitions, but there was no real traditional system, like I said. So it was more like we are already good. We did competitions in high school. There is this student competition. It's not very important. It was not regarded as very important. Like still IOI and COI, they were regarded as the most important competitions. So I did go to these student competitions. First, maybe you know, first there is like a university competition where each university organizes its own competition in teams of 3 people. And then the best teams are sent to regional competitions. So for Croatia, region is Central Europe. So we are in region with Poland, Slovakia, Czech Republic, and so on. Bulgaria is maybe, or Serbia, you are maybe in the region with Romania or Ukraine and so on. And then best teams from these regional competitions are sent to final competition. And usually from Croatia, basically it never happened that someone advanced because there was no system or anything like that. There was no feeling of how to prepare for it, how is the competition and so on. So I went first year to this regional competition with my team, And we were all three of us, we all had gold medals. We were all red on these websites for competitions. We thought we were good, but we didn't know what to expect. And of course, we didn't advance to the final round. Next year we went as well, but we didn't really practice with anything special, so we also didn't advance next year. And then in third year of my university, we got lucky and we advanced to the final round. And that's basically that's the point where it changed a little bit for Croatia, how student competitions are seen. Because after we advanced to it, we started studying a little bit more how to prepare for ACM competitions for these student competitions. Because it's not so simple. It's not that you can say our strategy is to solve the most possible problems, like you do when you are in high school. Because you have 3 people in a team, but you have 1 tutor. So this is a big problem, because how do you divide 3 people to 1 tutor? You need to have some strategy of how to allocate these resources between 3 people. There's all the possible strategies, and usually teams to try many possible strategies and see how they work for them and choose something best. But still, the dynamic is much more different. In high school competitions, you need to be able to collaborate with other people. You are not just individual who sits and does everything himself. You need to work together. The 3 people together usually can do more than 1 person. So we studied all of that. We studied what are the types of problems that show in ACM, because they will be different than high school problems. We went to this final round, and in final round, then we saw that final round, that ACM finals, it's called like this. And it's actually much more difficult competition than IOS and COS. Winning a medal here is for us, it was so much more difficult than winning a gold medal on IOI. Because on IOI, half of the people win some medal. But here, only 10% of people win medal, and only first 3% would. So first 4 places would get gold, then 4 places get silver, then 4 places get bronze medal. But there is 130 teams in the finals, so it's a little bit more difficult. Then what happened then? Yeah, we went there and we didn't so much, but we won silver medal. It was kind of weird because it was the hardest ACM ever. We solved only 5 problems out of 12. So usually teams who win medals, they solve like 8 or 9 or 10. If we solved only 5, we will get the medal, but we did get it because it was ultra difficult. So even first team only had 7, and second team I think had 6 or something like that. And yeah, also while we were there, we met all these other ACM competitors. We talked to Russians, because the Russians would always destroy this, they would always be first. So we talked to them, we saw how do they prepare. So next year we advanced as well, but then we were much more confident. We knew what to expect. We were very confident we will advance to final. It was not luck like before. We prepared something for that. We advanced. We went to Russian camp. Russians have this. It's called Petrozavodsk camp. Maybe you heard about it. They have winter and summer camp. It's for ACM teams for students, and they do. It's 10 days, and out of these 10 days, you do basically 3 days of practice, 1 day rest, 2 days training, 1 day rest, 3 days of practice. But these days of practice, they are in the morning. You have a competition. It's 5 hours competition, like in real life. And then after the competition, you solve the problems you didn't solve in the competition. And usually you have someone to tell you the solution to that and present. So that was really great and showed us how these best teams prepare. And we were also, they did destroy us there, but we learned a lot more than they learned, because it was all given to us. And then we also heard about a thing called Open Cup, which are regular competitions held on Sundays for ACM students that Russia is organized, but everyone can participate online. So basically, we got into that system. We knew how to prepare all that stuff. We prepared a lot for finals actually. All three of us, we ditched school, we ditched university for that year. We just said, okay, this year will be 3 years on university. The first few months we just did nothing, but then 3 months prior to competition, we practiced every day. It was like it was best 3 months probably of my life. It was like work. So I get up in the morning, I go to university. We had an office there. We go there. We have a simulation of competition for 5 hours. We go to lunch. We solve problems we didn't solve. Learn something new, and then go home, and tomorrow we'll do it again. It was like work basically. It was very. We did it for 3 months. We went to final round. We did want to get a gold medal, but we didn't. We got silver, which was still fine. But the good thing is now that after all that, every subsequent year there is a team preparation for advances, because now we know how to prepare and how to advance there. So we also organize these open cup solving sessions where teams who are interested will come to. There are even high school teams who would come to our university, and they would just solve that Russian open cup thing remotely. And it really brings up the quality of teams. And we were also able to share all our experiences with them, so they are much better now. Yeah, that's pretty much about competitions in Croatia. So yeah, as I said, high school and primary school, there is a lot of tradition. You probably solving it's our tradition for high school students or primary school students that's happening on Sundays or Saturdays. It's really great for preparations for national competitions, Olympics, and so on. And it's really old. It's like 10 years old. So for high school, there is all the tradition, and we won a lot of gold medals and all that stuff. For student competitions, it only started maybe a few years ago, but now it's getting better and better. Yeah, do you have any questions about this? Yeah, we can also discuss that. Maybe I forgot to say something. Maybe I talked too much. Okay, I will also tell a little bit more about how did I prepare myself and how can you prepare to get better results. There is no magic secret, so don't expect much. It will be probably advices that you've heard sometimes, but what are the important things? So the important thing is that you set yourself some goals. So when I was preparing, my goal for one period was, for example, to get red color and top coder. And everyone knows. Does everyone know what's top coder? Great. So in our report, you know what's top coder. So your goal can, for example, be, I want to become yellow in code forces. And then you study and try to get all the information about how to accomplish that goal. So let's talk about top coder because that's simple. So in top coder there are these divisions, and in division 1 you always have, in each competition you have 3 problems. One is called 250, one is called 500, and one is called 1000. It's basically points that they are worth, but so this is the easiest one, middle one, and hardest one. And so the simple way to get better in top coder would be like this. You can say, let's say that these 250, like half of the times you can solve it, half of the times you can't solve it. So how to fix it is that you take all 250 problems and just go over and solve everything. So there is a lot of these competitions. So they are usually numbered, and I think that now they are something like 700 already. So you can say I will start from 400 competition, and you can go through all of them from 100 to 700 and solve just these 150s. And you solve them until it becomes too easy for you. If that way it will become too easy, then you can just stop. And what can you do then? Then you can switch to this one. Then you can just solve these. And then at 120 it will become too easy. And then you already, then basically after you do this, you can basically always solve these two, almost always. And then you have a very high rate already. So that maybe that sounds too simple, but okay. How to actually solve these problems and make some progress is that one simplest thing is you should always read these editorials and other people's solutions. Like only if it's too easy and if you are very confident that you did the best possible thing, then you don't really have to do it. But if you had any problems while solving a problem or while implementing, or you think that your solution is too difficult for this number of points, you should always go and read the editorial, try to understand it, and read other people's code. I do it always, even when problems are too easy. I always want to know how to implement this solution, because he will always have some similar idea or some shorter solution. So I have these few people who I always check their code to see how they implement something, then I can learn something new. And when you really don't know how to solve something, you can still you can set yourself some time limit. If you spend on these problems, if you spend half an hour with no progress, like you didn't move from from point where you are, you can give it a break. You can try it again tomorrow, or you can just read the editorial or ask someone or read the solution. Usually editorials are fine; they give enough details so you know how to solve something. Then another thing how to get better is you can identify areas where you have problems. For example, usually problems are classified in some categories like dynamic programming, next flow, greedy, mathematics, probabilities, and so on. You can notice that in some of these areas you have problems you usually don't solve. So you can go and specifically make yourself better in that category. I think a lot of these sites like CodeIT, they have these tags. Like each problem has some tags, which means that some topics are associated with it. So you can search problems by some tag, and then you can find 50 problems about dynamic programming. You can just go and solve all these 50 problems, and you will become instantly better dynamic programmers. Or also, what I was doing is when I'm solving problems and I find some interesting problem about on some topic, I always I write it down. I have a document with some topics like construction problems, BP problems, so on. If I find some nice problem, I just write it down in the document. So it won't really be useful to me directly later, but at least when I'm teaching some students, I can give them a list. Here is 10 problems about constructed algorithms, and then they already have a list of 10 problems which they can try to solve. Yeah, that's basically it. I think most important thing is that you don't spend time solving too easy problems, and you don't waste time. You don't waste time solving too easy problems, and you don't waste time solving too hard problems. So always solve problems that are a little bit more difficult than what you are used to. That's the best thing to do. Because if you solve too easy problems, you won't learn anything new. If you solve too hard problems, you won't be able to solve them, or you will waste too much time. So you should always, strike that balance between how much time you spend and how much value did you get. So this is a simple implementation of that principle. If like 250s are a little bit harder than what you are used to, just do them until you raise your level. Right. Let me see what you say. yeah, so most of you are in high school. So also what I forgot to say, a lot of people think that after they are like very good in high school this competition that they will be good in university. But as I said, it's not true. For one, because of these strategy problems, and for second, because there is a lot of new topics actually that come in. So ACM student problems are a little bit different than IOI problems, which are IOI problems are usually more technical, oriented on some data structures, maybe even some code implementation. And they are usually big problems that you need like 1 or 2 hours to solve. ACM problems, they are usually half an hour problems. Often they require some theoretic knowledge that you maybe don't have now. Like for example, calculus, maybe some of you learned in high school, probably most didn't. Probabilities, some advanced geometry, expectations, linear programming, and so on. But all of them you'll be able to learn either in your like normal courses in university, or you can learn them by for example, one good way to learn this stuff is you can watch MIT. MIT has free lectures basically for all their courses. There is a great one called I'm not sure again the name, but it's something like design of algorithms. And in that course, they have like 20 lectures. Each lecture is one topic, and it's usually like half of the topics are very useful for competitive programming. Like for example, one of them they do FFT. Probably all of you heard about FFT. It's fast Fourier transform. Maybe you don't know it, maybe you know it. But they have a lecture for 1 hour. They will explain it, and you will understand it great. They also have one for max flow. So from that one, I took some ideas for today's lecture. But they are really great. They are free, and it is an easy way to get familiar with these new topics you will need when you finish high school. Okay, and last, yeah, someone told me yesterday that usually kids after high school they usually stop competing, or they lose interest, or they don't get interested to do these student competitions. I would encourage you to try. I also had similar feelings when I finished high school. I thought, IOI is the greatest competition ever. I can't do anything else. There are no more competitions, but there actually is. It's a lot more fun because you do it with 2 other people. It's much less boring. It's much less boring to practice. Problems are more interesting, in my opinion, and the competition itself is valued more. Usually, if you have some ACM finals on your resume, it will be much more valuable than having IOI. Which doesn't mean that IOI is great, but ACM gives you more power because a lot more people know about ACM ICPC competitions than about IOI or COI. Okay, so yeah.
Can I ask a question? How do you balance off between training and also competing in live competitions? Because at the moment you can choose, for example, several live competitions a day. And which live competitions do you prefer?
That's a great question. I forgot to talk about it. So I can tell you what I did, what my team was doing. What I was doing is, yes, there's a lot of competitions. There's a lot of live competitions you can do, but most of them are not that valuable, are not that great. So what we did is we just chose few competitions like Code Forces, Top Coder, and let's say Coder or something like that. There is 3 of them, and usually that would be something like 1 competition a week or 2 competitions a week, which is not much. It's like maybe 5 hours a week or 4 hours a week at most. I think it's usually not more. And usually they are always on the weekends. So if you practice during the week, then you don't have problems. But yeah, I think that's related to this thing. As I said, don't waste time solving too easy problems or too hard problems. Here also, the same can be applied. Like don't waste time doing competitions that will not be that valuable. I mean, if they bring a lot of fun to you, then do them, because you should also have fun while doing this. You shouldn't do this if you don't have fun. And if competitions bring you so much fun, then just do competitions. It's great. But if advancing and winning some competitions will also bring you fun, then you have to balance between doing live competitions and practice. I would suggest just choose few of them and just do them. I don't even for some of the websites that people do, I don't even know what competitions are because I just said I will never look at it. Because if they were very valuable, I would probably heard it from someone, and if I look at it, it's just too dangerous because maybe I will think it's fine and then I will start doing it and just waste time on it. So just choose few of them that most people do and stick to them, and that's basically it. Don't waste time on too many competitions.
What about the ACM live competitions? Because you mentioned only personal competitions.
Oh yes, in ACM. So I don't know about many practices about many live ACM competitions. So the only one I know is that's regular is these Open Cups. They happen maybe once every 2 or 3 weeks, and they are on Sunday for 5 hours. It's not really a great time because it's like it's Russian competition, so it's made that in Russia it's from like 10 to 3 p.m. So maybe in Bulgaria it's not so bad, maybe it's like from 9 p.m. to 2 p.m. In Croatia it's literally it's like for 8 a.m. to 3 a.m. So like if you go out on Saturday, then it's not really easy to do competition on Sunday. But yeah, that's the only one I know, and I think that it's really worth doing it. All the other season competitions I saw, I didn't really see any value with them. But still, maybe it also depends on what level you are currently on. If maybe it can happen that Open Cup is too difficult for you, so you will choose some other competitions to practice on, which is fine. But then you don't do Open Cup, and that's it. For ACM, just 5 hours of live competition per week is more than enough. Don't do more.
There's 2 divisions in Open Cup or
Oh yeah, that's true actually. There is 2 divisions. I never looked at the second one, so I can't really say what's the difficulty. But yes, there is also second division in Open Cup. So it's true. If first division is too difficult, you can try second one. Yeah. So yeah, basically to start competing in Open Cup. Your university, there should be someone in your university who will be responsible for organizing that in your school, and they should get in contact with Russian organizers, and then they will get logins and all that stuff. It's not very difficult to get. But yeah, I think it's the only ACM live competition that's regular and that's really good.
Did they provide some tutorials after the contest?
I forgot about it. Yeah, that's no. Sometimes there is some links, but that reminds me that when we were preparing for ACM, we would practice these Open Cups, and very often there was one problem. There was one competition created by tourists, and there was one problem that we just couldn't solve. It's too difficult. There was no solution, but there was a video of tourists explaining all the solutions, but it was in Russian. So we just watch it 10 times because there are similar words in Croatian and Russian. So after you watch it 10 times, you see all these gestures and writing, pick up some words. After you watch it 10 times, we understood the solution. I mean, I'm not saying you should do it. I'm just saying if you try hard enough, you can figure it out. I would say maybe for half of the competitions there will be some editorial solutions in English. For half of them, not really. But you can always ask someone else. The thing is that for Open Cups, there is always someone who creates a topic, like a thread on Code Forces forum, where people ask about solutions and people give answers about solutions. So you can also read there or ask there. I usually don't have problems with finding out what's the solution if I don't know how to solve something. Do you want to take a break for a few minutes, or do you want to? I now wanted to switch to max flow. No break. Okay, let's do a break in maybe 20 minutes or something. Later No, sorry, I meant let's take a break in 20 minutes. But if you want, we can take it now, a few minutes. If you have to go to toilet or something. It's your choice.
All right.
Okay, then let's talk for a little bit more, then we'll take a short break. Also, after all this, we'll have lunch available. We can talk. If you forgot lunch, then you can ask me for the phone. So the topic I decided to talk today is flow networks. So first, can you tell me how much you know about Mexico? So
This much.
okay, that's something. So first, can you all tell me whoever raise a hand if you ever used Maxflow and installed a program? Okay, great. That's almost everyone. Okay, so I assume you know something about flow, so I'll just remind you in maybe 10 or 15 minutes. Talk about what it is. I won't go into too much detail. I want to talk about some nice problems that can be solved using Maxflow. That was actually my goal. You want me to write larger? Just, so in these, what is even a flow network? Flow network is a graph that has two special vertices. That's one. So one is usually marked with S and we call it source. Another one we mark it with T and we call it sink. Okay, and there are some not special nodes. Okay. Let's see some nodes. Okay, so it's basically a graph, and what's also special is that with each of these edges there is some capacity associated. So let me just make some example. I'll tell you what it means later, but you already know it, I guess. Let's say this one. So what does this capacity mean? Well, why do we say it's flow? We say because what we want to do is we want to push flow from source to sink. You can think about it as like place where water starts dropping, and this is place where all the water accumulates. These edges, they are like pipes through which water can flow, and each of these numbers means how many units of water can go through this pipe in 1 second or in some amount of time. So it's like a rate. And when we talk about flow networks, we usually talk about max flow, which is a question of what's the highest rate we can push from source to sink. Alright, so we can also define it formally if you want. So flow would be just a flow. Let's just talk about flow, not about max flow. So how would we define flow even? So it would be some function from. So P denotes sets of nodes. So it's basically a function of two nodes. And it means how much flow did we push from one node to another. And it has few constraints. Like few constraints. So first one is about capacity. So it means that flow between two nodes, U and V, cannot be greater than capacity between these two nodes. And capacity we can denote by C. So for example, flow between these two nodes has to be less than or equal to 1, it can't be greater than 1. There is another constraint called, usually called skew symmetry. This one is very simple, it just says that so usually we will have flow only going between two nodes. You will have only flow going in one direction. But for these, we also define flow in the opposite direction. We just say it's negative of that. So if there will be 1 unit of flow going from this node to this node, we will say that there is -1 unit going from this node to this node. The last one is. Can you see all this? Yeah. Maybe here, I'm not sure. The last one is called observation. It just means that whatever flows into a node has to go out to that node. And that should be true for everything except these two special nodes. So it's just so for some we for v not equal to s. Sorry. So what it means is that for each u except S&P, let's say we can choose this one. All the flows. All the flows that basically, if you sum up all these f's, where the first argument will be the node that you've chosen, all the flows that come in will have a positive sign, and all the flows that come out, all the flows that come in will have a negative sign, all the flows that come out with a positive sign. When you sum up all of them, they should be equal to 0. So if there is 1 unit coming here, 1 unit coming here, 2 units coming out here, everything is fine. It makes sense? Yeah? Okay, great. So that's how we define flow, and also we talked about value of flow. How do we define value of flow? So we can notify this, and it's defined as basically sum of all flows going from source, getting out from source. That sounds reasonable, right? So it's sum of. So we sum up everything that comes out of source, and that's basically value of the flow. This is the flow that comes out of S and ends up in T. So there is also one thing that I want to use, which is nice notation to write this as capital V. So this is something like implicit summation notation. So this here is just a node, but this here is a set of all nodes. And this just means that we want to sum up over all the values from this set, right? So I'm not using this notation. Does it make sense? Or I could also have something like f from two sets from A to B. It just means go over all the nodes from here, go over all the nodes from here, and sum up everything. So we do something like sum. Okay, great. So this is how we define flows. So whatever comes out from source. Okay. So about this notation, let me just show you a few identities that are valid regarding these notations. So first one is, so if you take any set of nodes and compute this, it will be equal to 0. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Great. I thought it would be done with a more explanation. Cool. This is true because of skew symmetry basically, and because of conservation. So the another one is so these are also sets, but we already showed that this holds for two normal nodes. So if we do it on sets, it will also hold because it's just spatial. And the last one is like distribution rule. Okay, so this is only if what this means is we can take flow from one set X to some set Z, and flow from set Y to set Z. We can sum them up, and it will be equal to flow from union of these two sets X and Y to Z. This should also be intuitive. Yeah? Let's discuss it. Let's try some example. Okay. So we can try. So these are sets. You're familiar with sets, more or less. Okay. So let's say that these sets are they have just one element. Let's say that X is node 1, node 2. Okay, it has 2. And this one has only node 3, and Z has only node 4. Now let's write this down. Let's write the right hand side first. So it will be F. We want to use this word or something. Plus this one. So all that I said here is that this thing here is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you would write out this thing here by this rule, so you would get F14 plus F24, right? You get 1,4 and 2,4.
Actually, the intersection is not. Yes,
yeah.
It should be equal.
Sorry.
Yeah, whatever. It's we understand.
Of course, it is equal to 0. Yeah, they should intersect. Okay, so here we have flow from 1 to 4 and from 2 to 4, plus flow from 3 to 4. So it's basically like flow from 1 to 4, 2 to 4, and 3 to 4. This is exactly this. Makes sense. Okay, so just remember these three simple rules. They are really useful to try to prove some things about flows and to convince yourself that something is true. So let's try to prove something simple. I mean, it's not simple, but let's try to prove it. So here we define flow as sum of we define value of flow as sum of all flows going from source. So sum of all flows going from source to all other nodes. Now I claim that that this is also true. That it's equal to sum of all flows going from every node to sink. This sounds reasonable because as we said, like everything that comes out of source ends up in sink. But you can't just say this and do this like vague proof. We can try to prove it. We can try to prove it using the rules we talked about before. Does anyone have any ideas how to do it? Okay, so I can do this first one. For some other ones, I can let you try. Okay. So this is true. This is how we define. Layer of flow. But this is what we claim. So we want to try to prove it. So this is our goal to prove. So let's start from this expression. So we can write this as this. So this is true because of that last rule. Like if you would move this thing to the left side, it will be same as the other rule. So you have V minus, so set of all nodes without source, and here you have just source. When they sum up, you will get all nodes. This makes sense.
Yeah.
So if you put this on the left side, you get the other rule. Can you tell me anything about this one? Is there anything interesting here?
Oh, the first one is 0.
True. So first one will be 0. Great. So we are only left with this one, and we can just switch the sign of this thing by exchanging this. So it looks nicer. So we don't have. All right. What to do now? Now we can just try to split this into this plus something. So this thing will be same as plus 1. What's left over? Can you tell me?
B2 B minus S.
Yes. Okay. And so what's interesting about this one? I mean, you can already guess what's the thing here. So this is equal to 0 as well. Why is it equal to 0?
Minus S minus T.
Well,
Sorry.
Everything going in is everything going out as 0. F of V is also 0.
well, we can split it to
I mean,
B to B.
0 f of v is 0 because these are the same.
Okay,
But here they are
minus
not.
S and minus T, everything going out from S is equal to everything going in to sink. This two is 0.
Well, we can
Yeah, maybe you mean right, but I can't process it.
we can split it.
Okay, just a simple thing is because of it's true because of this thing. So this means that sum of all flows related to any node except source and sink is 0. Alright. How do you apply it here? On this side you have all the nodes except source and sink. So if you would write out this thing, you would sum up all the flows related to every node except source and sink. Like more general, this is 0 if x is not source of sink. Like everything that comes in that comes out of x has to sum up for 0. And if you would write out this set here, it would fall apart to all the x's and none of them is equal to source or sink. So yeah, there's probably many other explanations, but this is the one. A little bit equal to 0. So then this is true. Alright, it's been more than 45 minutes, so let's take a break for 10 minutes and then we'll continue. The red ones are flows. And I didn't draw flows in opposite direction, it will just be negative version of these. So of course, if there is no edge, then capacity is 0, this is assumed. So let's first check that all these that it satisfies all the definitions of flow. So first one is that flow is a function from two nodes, from a pair of nodes to real numbers. So that's true because as I draw it here. Second one is capacity constraint. So every flow is flow on each edge is not greater than capacity on that edge. Is it true in this one? Yes. Great. What was another constraint? Do you remember? Yes. Conservation constraint. Is it true? Let's check it for one of the nodes. So let's check it for. So we said it's not true for source and sink because if you look at source, sum of everything going out is 4, and sum of everything coming in is 0. Here also, sum of everything coming in is 4, and sum of everything coming out is 0. But if you look at any other nodes, let's say this one, how much is coming in? 2. How much is coming out? 2. This one, 3 coming in. Yes, sorry, I didn't see this one. Coming out. This one coming in, 1 coming out. Here, 2 coming in. 3 coming in, 2 coming out. Great. Makes sense.
Yes.
What's the loop for? Okay, can you tell me now, is this maximum? So maybe I didn't define what's maximum. Maximum
Yes.
flow is just a flow with maximum possibility.
Yes.
Why is it maximum?
Well, because the
Sorry, can you say?
Because the capacities of the edges that are coming out of the source, the sum of them is 4.
Yes, exactly. So all the flow comes out from source, and on source we already saturated all the edges. All of them are completely, so it's not possible to do more than 4. Right. Okay. Now we know flows. But this is good introduction to what I want to talk about next. So maybe remember this proof that he said. Why is flow 4 when I talk about the next topic? So next topic will be cuts. So what's a cut? Cut is also defined. Cut can also be defined on. Cut is defined on flow networks as well. And how do we define it? We define it as a division of nodes into 2 sets. So set S. So these are capital letters. So these are sets. And what also must be true is that, of course, they are disjoint. They are disjoint, and the source is in the first one, and so this is like and the sink is the second one. Just the division of nodes into 2 sets. Okay, so let's just think about some cut here. We can say that some very simple cut can be that these 3 nodes belong to first set, capital S, and these 3 nodes belong to the second one, float. So this is like legitimate cut. So this will be set S. So yeah, this will be set S, and this will be XS. Right. First interesting thing to talk here is, since we already have that notation between sets, is to see what's the flow between these two sets. We can also call it flow across the cut. So can you tell me what's the value of this thing on this graph? Or why is it 4? How do you compute 4?
The sum of the edges that go from S.
Okay, so is this one 2, is this 1, and is this 1? Everyone agrees?
No.
Yeah.
Aren't the edges that they're backwards negative then? Isn't the sum 0 then?
But the thing is that this is only from S to T.
Okay.
So, so the thing is that, let's say that maybe, are you talking about edges going from T to S, or like for example this one?
Yeah.
Yes, this one will be -2, but the thing is that this one is not included here, because this is only from S to T, not the other one, right? Right. Okay. So here it was equal to 4, and also flow was equal to 4.
Should in graph we have two components, or it can be this?
It should be two components. Like one should be two components, disjoint, and if you make union, you get all the nodes. If you intersect, it's 0, and source is in 1, and sink is in 1. You could probably also define it in some other ways, but this is how it's usually defined, and the definition works.
So everything is connected. In one graph, in one set everything is connected, in the other set it's everything connected, right?
Yeah. I mean, if there is some things that are not connected to either of these, we can just ignore them in this graph. Yeah, you're right. There are some details that I'm leaving out, but they are not that important. Okay, so flow across the cut is 4. Max flow is also 4. Now you see what's coming. Okay. So this is true. For if you choose any flow, any cut, this is true. Okay, so you might think, why is it true? Yeah. Do you want to say something? I thought you wanted to prove it if you want. Okay, so yeah, like some intuition is that we define flow before, like value of flow as everything that comes from source and ends up in sink. And here we have source in one set and sink in other set. So intuitively, everything that goes from source to sink must pass through the cut, because cut separates these two nodes. But we can also prove it using the rules I showed you before. Maybe you want to try to do it yourself. I can give you a few minutes. I will also quick back the rules if you want to try it. It's not. So like this is what we want to prove, and this is how we define flow, value of a flow, and these are some rules that you can try to use. anyone has any ideas? If you are writing too much, it's probably not clear.
We can start from the definition of flow
Okay,
and then add nodes from the set that doesn't contain S. So V contains S, but this is equal to F from S to the set V minus S, because flow from S to S is 0. So we can write,
okay, you mean like this?
yep, because F of S to S is 0.
Yes, I agree.
Then we can select some random node U that is not T, so some random middle node. And we can separate F from S to V minus S to F from, just a second, from S to U plus F from S to V minus S minus U.
So you mean like this?
Yep. And we can then write that F from S to U is equal to minus F from U to S but F from U to S as another equality that we'll write. F from U to S plus F from U to V minus S.
Maybe you can come and write.
Okay. Alright, and we can so we have this, therefore we have that F from U to S equals minus F.
Wait, are you proving this or something else?
Yeah, this, and then in this equality we just substitute this, and that's it.
So what did you substitute with this?
We have this and F from U to S, right? And this is negative this.
So we have these two.
Yep. And then we have this, which is
Minus.
yep, which is just we
Minus
can,
this.
yeah, we can write
Okay.
like that. And in, we have F where making it here. So we have that the flow is equal to F from U to V minus S minus U plus F from S to V minus S minus U, which is equal to F from the set of S and U to the set V minus the set of S and U. And we can do this iteratively for every U in S.
I see what you're saying.
So we can repeat this step for every
Yeah, I think it's great. Good job. It's very long, but yeah, I think it seems like it. Okay, great job. But maybe it's not really clear to everyone else. So I will do one other proof.
Oh, yeah, sure.
This is correct. I will just try to do something short. So. So what we wanted to prove is this. Alright, so first let's start from flow and sorry, I'll start from this expression which should get easier. I can write this as f of s. I cannot do it. What else should I put here?
That's just
Alright, so very interesting here.
one is right is 0 and left is 0 plus source.
Sorry?
And left we can part on two ways. One set and source, and set is 0 and we have source and it is actually right for.
Can you repeat?
Can I?
Yeah. So these are sets from S2.
This is 0 because this is the full set and this is all these nodes are not sinker, they are not source, so this is the result and this is equal to this definition.
Yes. Yeah. Does everyone agree? So what you're left with is this. So this is flow from all the nodes. So let me just illustrate one card here, just so you remember. So let's say this is some card. This is this. So here we are left with flow from this set to all the nodes. And what we can do then is we can write this as flow from just source. So this is small. Yeah, maybe. So this is capital. This is capital. This is small. This is capital. And this is some. This is also set, but it's some S prime. So we have flow from set S to all other nodes, and we split it into two parts. One is flow from just source to everything else, and another one is from source to everything else, and so this is this part, and the second part is this. Oh, maybe I solved these things with regard to what you know, but it doesn't matter. So this one is from small s to everything else, and this one is from all other nodes in this set to everything else. But because of flow conservation, this one is equal to 0. So if you sum up flows to all the other nodes from anything here, this doesn't have source or sink, that will be 0. So we are only left with this one. But this is actually how we define flow. Does it make sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah, great. Alright, so there is one thing that we can. So now we talked about flow across the cut. What we can also try to define, is capacity of the cut, or capacity across the cut. So this is simple. This is like the same notation as with flows. What we do is we just sum up all the capacities from all the edges going from source and enemy sink, right? Sorry, going from set S and enemy set B. So same notation. So I can put some sign here. Can you tell me what you have here? So if you look at the flow across the cut, flow on all the edges between these two sets, because of the capacity constraint, it follows that sum of all these flows will be less than or equal to sum of all these capacities, because on each individual edge it holds. So if you sum them all up, it will still hold. So this is very powerful statement. So what it means is that you can take any flow in the, you can make any flow in the network, whichever one you want. That's valid flow. And you can take any cut, and this will be true. Right. So it means value of any flow is less than or equal to value of any cut. How we can also write it? So because I said any flow is equal, any flow is less than or equal to any cut. How can I also write it is that yeah, I can say that maximum value of any flow across the cut. So like maximum value of this, you can like try all the possible flows and find one that maximizes this. But this is actually one that maximizes the value of a flow, because as we said, this is equal to. So just take maximum value possible of this and take minimum possible value of this. And this will still be true, right? These two are equivalent, because all the flows are less than all the capacities of all the cuts. That also means that maximum value of flow. So this is equal to. All right. So what it means? So it means maximum value of a flow will less than or equal to minimum value, minimum capacity of any cut. Right.
But we can change the value of x of f between two nodes, but we can't change the value of c because the capacity is given to us. Like what does mean of something that's fixed like?
So I mean, both of these values are actually fixed. It's just that this one is basically given to you in the graph, in the problem. You just sum up. I mean, it's not given to you. You still have to consider all the possible partitions. Find the one that has the smallest possible cut. Here also, you can consider all the possible flows and find the one that has the largest value. And this will still be true. But maybe it's better to look at it this way. Choose any cut, choose any flow. This is true. Does it answer your question?
Yes.
So this is very interesting. But what in fact is true is that this is equal. But it's a little bit more difficult to prove, and it's probably out of scope. So you can like search on Wikipedia Streeted, or if you have this CLRS algorithms look, you can also see the proof there. It's not long. It's just it's based on the scope. I'll try to give you some vague proof later, but this is true. So maximum value of a flow, basically max flow, how we defined it before, is the same thing as minimum cut. Okay. Let me just go back for a second. Okay, so now I'll try to show you a simple algorithm to compute max flow. And then from there we will see that it will also be equal to minimum cut. So for this, we have to define, this is called residual network, and then we have to define residual capacities. They are defined like this. So residual capacity between two nodes is, let's say that you push some flow. So this capacity will be equal to what's left over on that edge. So if some edge has capacity 5 and you push 2 units of flow through it, then what's left over is 3. So this thing will be equal to 3. So it's just the capacity minus flow. Okay, now let's try this simple algorithm. I will draw one network. So this is source. I'll just use another color to write these residual capacities. Okay. So the algorithm is actually very simple. It just says maintain the residual graph. So graph with residual capacities, not with these, and just try to push more flow while you can. Let's try to do it. So. So if you just look at this network, you can probably figure out what's the max flow, right? What would be its value? 2. Okay. And what would you do? You would push 1 unit here and 1 unit here, right? Okay. Now I'll do this algorithm and I'll make a bad choice first. I'll make a bad path first. I'll push this flow and we'll see what happens. So let me push 1 unit of flow here. So what do I have to do? I have to decrease capacity of every edge by flow on that edge. So I will push 1 unit of flow this way. So here I will increase by 1, this will get to 0. But the edge in the opposite direction will now have capacity 1. Because flow in this direction is now minus 1. And the capacity before was 0. So 0 minus minus 1, this will be 1. Here, same will happen. Basically, these other edges, they give us opportunity to fix the mistake. If this was a bad part, this will give us opportunity to. Because now think about what would happen if you push a flow through this edge. It basically means that you cancel the before flow. So in the end, flow on all this part would be in the end 0. Well, let's see an example. So I pushed one unit of flow here. Now let's try to push 1 unit of flow. Can you find one path from source to sink that we can push the flow through that has the capacities non-negative? Yeah, we can do that. So we can go from here. 2, 2, 1, 1, 1. So let's do it. So here we'll get 1. So what happens here is that I push 1 here, so this becomes 0. Basically, this disappears. And this one will again get back to 1, like it was before actually. Okay, now I basically push the flow to, and these actual. Now we can try to find actual paths of the flows. So let's see this edge. This edge, we can see that capacity decreased by 1 from before. So this means that flow on this edge is 1. So we come here. Flow on this edge is 0. it cancels out. So we can't go here, but here we can. So we go here, here. So one part will be this one. And another one will be you go here, you push one, here you push one, and here you go and push one. So another one is this. So actually these paths in residual graph, they were different than the actual paths in flow, but what we got in the end is the right solution. Because first part we did went like this, and then the second one came, it went like this, and then it basically cancelled out this one. So what happens is that these two cancel. This one takes over ending of the first part, and the first one takes over ending of this part. So basically they just switch their ends. And this cancels out. This makes sense. So the algorithm is very simple. It is called Ford filters. So it means you simply maintain this graph with these residual capacities, and you just say, well, there is a path on non-negative values from source to sink, push flow through it. That's it. There is nothing else. Now let's see what happens when there is no path anymore. What does it mean?
We have reached the maximum.
True, right. We can reach a maximum. But what it also means is that there is no path from source. There is no path from source to sink. So we can try to partition nodes such that in first set we put everything that's reachable from S. So in this case, what would it be? It would be all these nodes, right? And you put everything else in the other set. All right. So this is like a cut, right? Because we took everything that's reachable from S. So S is the first set. And we said that we reach the end, there is no path from source to sink. So T will not be in this set. Okay, first thing, what's the flow across this cut? Yes, it will equal to max flow, like we discussed before. I mean, sorry, it will, maybe it's the wrong thing. Not to max flow, it will be equal to flow that we have pushed, right? If we did this algorithm, we pushed, 10 units of flow, then flow across this cut will be equal to 10. Okay. Can you also tell me what's the capacity of this cut?
All draws, all edges in the residual graph have zero capacities.
Yes. The thing is that this capacity of this cut will be all these edges between these two sets. But by definition, all these edges, they have capacity 0. All these edges have capacity 0. Because what we did is we expanded from source on the positive edges. So all these edges between, they all have capacities equal to 0.
They were talking about C prime mode.
Yes, C prime will be 0. But I want to talk about C in general, like the first C. So yes, yes, you're right. The residual capacity of this cut will be 0. But what it also means is that we spent all the capacity on that cut. And all right. So this is true, right? Because flow across the cut is equal to flow, and it's also equal to capacity of this cut, because we spent everything is set to 0. And now if now if you have this, you can be certain that it's a max flow. Because you reach that point where you have flow and cut that are equal. And yeah. Because if we would imagine some number line, then all the flows would, all the values of all the flows would lie somewhere here, and there would be a line, and then here there are all the cuts. Maybe I should put these. Maybe I should put these nuances, right? So these are all the cuts. These are all the flows. All the cuts. Oh, sorry, the other way. These are all the cuts. These are all the cuts. These are all the flows. So all the cuts are greater or equal to all the flows. But now in this algorithm we reached a point where we found a flow and we found a cut, and they are equal. So we find something here. So this flow is then a maximum flow because it can't go right. We found a cut that balances, so we can't go larger. So this can give you some intuition that this is indeed maximum flow that we reached, and also that I think I told you before that minimum cut is equal to maximum flow. Does this make sense? Great. Any questions? Okay. So as I told you, there is this algorithm is called Fulkerson. And what will be complexity of this algorithm? Can you give me any bound of the complexity?
Almost like the number of major edges.
Yes. So why is that so?
We push at least 1 unit to fall every iteration.
Yes, exactly. So yeah. So in each iteration we have to find one path, and we can find one path in complexity in the number of edges. Like you can do depth first search or breadth first search or whatever. We can find a path that goes to non-zero capacities. And we will do it at most this many times because every time we push at least one value.
So that's an algorithm whose complexity depends on its output. Like,
Yeah, basically. But the thing is, this Fulkerson is not fully specified. It doesn't tell you how to find this path. You can use whatever algorithm you want to find. That's why it's like this. But then someone tried to do this thing using a breadth first search, and they noticed that it's always much faster than if you do depth first search or something else. And it turns out, I don't know how to prove it, but if you use breadth first search to find a path, so you always find the shortest path, then you will get this complexity. And this algorithm is called
Edmonds curve.
Edmonds curve. So Edmonds curve is just a version of Fulkerson that uses breadth first search. This complexity. This is fine. This is just a bound. In practice, it's even better. And there are also some faster algorithms which are much more complicated. For complicated programming, usually most of the cases this one is fine. But you can also learn some others. Like there is Linux algorithm, for example, that's also used a lot. But all these you can learn later at home. Okay, great. Now we are done with this theory. Let's do some problems. Okay, let's start easy. Does everyone know what's the maximum biphase matching problem?
Yes.
Yes, great. You all know. You probably all know how to solve it. Okay. Matching. So I don't have to. Do I need to define the problem? Does anyone care about it? Do you know the problem? Yeah. Great. Okay, so we have some nodes on the one side and some nodes on the other side, and there are some edges between them. And the question is to select some edges such that each node is part of at most one edge, and it's like at most edges possible. So what's the solution here? How many would be the most?
3.
Yeah, we can select this one, this one, this one. So it's, but let's. So that there are some values that computers think earlier probably used, but let's try to. So what I want to show you now to these examples is how to reduce problems to maximum flow or minimum cut. Like how to, when you see a problem, how to model it as max flow or min cut problem. And then what thing you have to do is construct the graph and call the algorithm. That's what you have to do, but very fast to run. So does anyone know how to model this as max flow problem? How do you
Have sink and source connected the sink to all.
do this?
Connect the source to all this from the left side and connect from the right side to the replications to the all the passage should be one. And to the middle edges. So
Here.
they should be directed from left to right. So the passage should be one.
Everyone agrees? Yeah? Okay. It's pretty simple. How are the parts going to look in the optimal solution? They will be just, from here to here, from here to here, and from here to here. Very simple. So because of this, we can say that each part will specify 2 nodes that will match. Like this part will match these 2. And because capacities here are 1, it means that every left node can be in only one part. Because capacities are 1 here, every node can be in only one part on the other side. And basically these capacities, they can be infinite, it's fine. Like this can be infinite because you will not be able to use this twice because this one you can use and what is infinite. So max flow in this graph is equal to max flow by contact matching. So this is very easy example. Okay, let's do something more interesting. Let's say that there is a league in some sport, and that some matches are played. So we know that there were matches between a team. There is like n teams and n matches that they played. So we know that these matches they were between team A1 and B1, between A2 and B2, and so on. And we know that we know that these matches were played, and we know the table of the league at the end of everything. So we know for each team how many points they have. So number of points for each team. And we also know that in each match, 2 things can happen. Either one of teams will win, then they get 2 points. And loser gets 0. Or 0, yes. Or there can be draw, and draw means that everyone gets 1 point. So draw. So what you are asked to do is to find out scores of all these matches. To say, for each game, say who won, or if there was a draw, say that there was a draw. Such that after these results, every team will have the score that's given. Does it make sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you have scores of all the teams, you know what matches will be played, but you don't know who won or if there was a draw. You have to decide what happened. Okay. Did anyone figure out? Okay, you already said too much. Let's try something else. Yeah.
Okay, let's calculate for every team one more value, y of I. That is the matches it's played times 2 minus x5.
Sorry, minus.
The points it will get at the end. Since every
I
match
see.
gives 2 points.
Okay, then you know. Then you know how many draws and how many wins each team gets. Right?
We connect the source to every team with a capacity y of I for the team, and connect every team to every team played against with a capacity 2. And then on the other side, we connect every team to the sink with capacity x5.
I'm not sure. Let's try to draw. So you said you will put from source to every team. Let's say team I. What will be capacity here?
Yes, the number of matches team I has played in times 2 minus x5.
Okay, let's complete it. So y will be twice number of matches of by team minus xy. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So we put. Okay.
And then connect I with every team he has played against
Okay.
with capacity 2.
Yeah.
And connect every vertex to the sink with capacity x.
So this.
No, we mirror the vertices.
Oh, you would have two.
Yes.
Oh, I see.
One on the left side and one on the right.
So all of these you
Yes,
will connect.
Yes.
So there would also be like y.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So because these two teams played again, then there would also be y here and there would also be h here.
Yes.
I don't see the reason why we have to yi for example, but we can just put it there.
Let's see.
Са колко точки може да ви делят неговите мачове на туди.
So
Защото на всеки мач да види.
y basically means how many draws that team has to play.
Well, but this team might also lose a match, so
No,
we cannot find the
it
number of.
means how points he can give to other teams.
I see what you're saying.
Yes.
I see.
After you compute the max score, how would you recover the scores of each match?
Yeah, the one problem I see is that you have two edges for each match, and it can happen that you will
Yes, both
decide.
can win in the same
Yeah.
match.
It can happen that you will decide different outcome for the same match. Can it happen?
Can we collect it all with twos and from residual graph reconstruct it?
You mean for this graph? Yeah, maybe, but as I said, the problem might be that for the same match, it can happen that we have that we decided. So this edge represents the same match between teams I and J. And what can happen is that we get different outcome from these two edges, and then it's all this. Alright, but we'll try. Let's close. Actually, so when I saw this problem, what I asked myself is why is these 2 points? Why isn't it 3 like in football? Why? Exactly. So number of points in match is the same regardless of what happened. Like what it means is every match gets 2 points and it divides them between 2 teams. Okay. So what we can do is we can do exactly that. We can put all the matches on one side. So all the matches on one side. So each match gets 2 points to distribute. And then here we have all the teams. Team 1, team 2. So let's say in match 1, teams 1 and 2 play. What we'll do is we'll just connect them like this. So what will happen is that these 2 units of flow will get distributed between these 2 teams. Like either one of them will get 2 points or they will get 1. And here we just put their required scores. So the thing is, you run the flow algorithm, you get some value of flow, and if this value of flow is not equal to all these, some of all these, it means that you had some inconsistent. It's impossible to have such scenario. But if you did like spend all these points, then you can easily reconstruct, because you just look at each match and you see what happened on these 2 edges. Either this one will be like fully spent, which means that team 1 won, or this one will be fully spent, team 2 won, or it will be like one spent here, one spent here, and that means that it was a draw, right? All right. Okay. Let's do.
Ivan,
Yeah.
for your information, 20 years ago, this was scoring for football.
It was. Okay, maybe then it wasn't intentional. But in this case, it could help you. It could help you because. Yeah. Okay. Let's move to something even more interesting. So, in this problem we have n items. Each item has some weight. B of y, which can be negative. I don't mean like weight in the in physical sense, but weight in how valuable it is to us. So it can also be negative. And we also have m conditions. Every condition tells us if you take item Aj, then you also must take item Bj. And what we have to do is we have to choose set of items with as larger weight as possible without breaking these rules. Does it make sense? I can try to make some examples.
Maximum or minimum total weight?
Maximum total weight. So here is an example. Let's say we have 3 items with weights 2, minus 4, and 3. And we have these 2 conditions which, let's say, if you take item number 1, you must take item number 2 as well. If you take item number 2, you must take item number 3 as well. So, in this case, this item number 1 has a value of 2, and we might want to take it, but if we take it, then we must take this one that has a value of minus 4, so it doesn't really pay off. And in the end, what's optimal is to just take this item. Because if we take this item, it's a score of 3, and we are not required to take anything else. So yeah, this is like average.
Are the conditions all to be satisfied? Are they bidirectional?
They are directed in one direction, they all could be satisfied. So in this case we have 2. If we take 1, we must take 2. And the other condition is if we take item number 2, we must take item number 3 as well.
Transmission. Transition is to go.
Oh, sorry.
If I take one, I must take two.
Yes.
Does it mean that I also must take three as well?
Yes. Because because if you take one, you must take two, and then you will take two, and then it triggers the other rule. So yeah, basically, if you take one, you will have to take both of these, and the score is one. Okay, so this one is actually this one actually has a name. It's called closure problem. How it's usually defined is that they say that you have a directed graph and you have to find a set of nodes that doesn't have outgoing edges. Right. We can try to construct a graph for this one. It will be a very simple graph. So 1, 2, 3. We need to find a subset of nodes that doesn't have outgoing edges. And in this case, we just select these nodes that have anything outgoing. And it has maximum value of 3. Yeah. Okay, so this one is a little bit more tricky, but how should you think about this problem? First thing is that you see that the problem asks you to find a subset of nodes. Does that remind you of that we talked about? Yes. In min-cut, we choose. I mean, we split the graph into two sets, but we can say we choose one of them. Now we can try to model the problem as the min-cut. It's not very simple, so I'll tell you the solution first, and then we can discuss why is that so. So yeah, first thing we'll try to do is we will say we will try to model a problem such that a cut we find. We will find a cut, and the first set S, will represent the solution. All right. Let me just do this with these notes. So I'll put nodes 1 and 3 here first. Yeah, you will probably think that this is not out of nowhere. It's probably true, but I will explain later. So we will also put Alright, so what I did is I added source and sink to this graph.
-4.
Sorry?
-4.
Actually, it will be 4. Yeah, but the thing is, if I could have put it on this side, but then it would be -4. And maybe I didn't talk about this before, but these capacities in these networks, they should always be non-negative. Maybe I forgot to say. But yeah, the thing is, if I try to put number 2 here, I would have to give it -4 because these I gave their normal size. It turns out what you can do is you can put it on the other side and give it change its sign. Let me explain why should we do it. Let's look at it like this. For each node, so all these edges that are in the graph before they have capacities infinite. So it means that we can't cut them. They can't be included in a cut because then cut would be infinite size. What we can cut is only these edges that are related to particular nodes. And now we can say that all the edges that will be on the left side with the source after the cut, they will be included in this set. So what it means is that if we cut one of these edges on the left side, it means that we will not take that node in the set, right? If we cut one of these edges, then it becomes disconnected from the source, and we don't take it in this set. But if we cut one of these, then it actually means we do take it. That's why we were able to change the sign here. So now let's see what will be the value of the cut in terms of what we have cut here and what have we cut here. So we will have let's see.
It will be the stuff we want to.
So yeah, first we will have sum of weights for all the positive items that we don't take, right? So this is positive. So as you said, positive items go on left side, negative go on the right side. And we change sign of negative mass. Positive that we don't take. What else? What about the other side?
Was it?
So I want to say if we find some cut here, I want to write out the value of the cut in terms of these weights.
So
We will cut some edges on the left side. What it means is it will be all these that we cut, they will not belong to the solution. So if we cut some of them, value of these cutted edges will be sum of weights of positive items that we don't want to take. Here are positive items. If we cut some of them, it means we don't want them in the solution. So first component in the value of the cut will be cutted edges here. And they are positive items that we don't want to take. What other edges can we cut?
Ones from the
Edges of this part. How do you write on that?
well, minus the weights.
Essentially,
The weights in the graph.
yeah, weights, it will be weights here. Okay.
Then
So these are negative items that we want to take. Why is the minus here? Why isn't it plus? It's minus because we are writing in terms of these and we have changed the sign for these.
so shouldn't it be
One
plus?
be connected to the
Sorry?
Shouldn't 3 and 1 be connected to the
No. We take positive items and connect them to the source. And we take negative items and connect them to the sink. That's all we do.
Now if we choose the third item,
Okay, yeah, let me just finish. So the value of a cut will be sum of all positive nodes that we don't want to take minus all the negative nodes minus all the negative nodes that we take. Alright. Okay. So how do we now write out sum of values of nodes that we will take? What will it be in terms of this and everything else?
Sum of all positive edges minus.
Yes, that's what I understand why is it so. So it will be, so let's say that S is the sum of all the values that we decided to take. We first sum up all the positive. This has anything to do with this part. This is like all the positive from here, so here it's 5. Minus C. Why minus C? We can, because here we discarded some positive that we don't want to take. And here minus and minus will become plus, and then we add all the negative. So you can think about it like this. At the beginning, you take all the positive items, and then you add this algorithm to decide which positive items you want to get rid of and which negative items you want to add. That's exactly what this does. So we take all the positive ones, and then cut will cut some here. That means we don't want to take them, so we subtract. and it will also cut some here, but it means we want to take them. And when we subtract, so it will have -4, it will be exactly the value of that node. So the solution here, what is going to be? What's the mean cut in this network?
So,
Yeah, we just have to cut this edge. If we cut this edge, then this is the set on the left side. So maybe I confused you, but when I said that I started model as a cut, I didn't mean exactly that one of these sets in a cut will be a solution, but it will lead us to a solution. So what was the answer then? It's 5 minus 2. And why is this maximizing solution? Is because C is minimized and V subtracts. I agree that it's a little bit tricky, but if you try to think about it and draw some more examples, it should give you a good intuition. But basically, we started as saying we take all the positive ones, and then we said let's remove some positive ones and let's add some negative ones. This is the good things. Any questions? Yeah, if there is something is not clear, just ask me. This one is very hard to explain. Well. This another one is maybe a little bit general version of the previous one, and not very general, but it's similar. So let's say we have a matrix n times matrix of numbers. One example here. And let's say that these numbers are non-negative, and we also have n rows. Okay, first what we need to do, you need to choose one value in each row. So let's say that that for each I, you should choose some column. So for each row, you choose some column. It means, for example, if in row 1 you choose column equal to 2, it means that you have chosen this value 5. And your goal is to that chosen elements have the largest possible sum. But there are again some rules. So there is n rules, and jth one is given by uj vj, and what it means is that chosen column in u in the first row has to be smaller than chosen column in another row. Right. So let's say that here we have these two rules in this example. So chosen column in this last row has to be left from the one in second row. And also this. So chosen one in the third row has to be left from the one in this row. So let's first find the solution. Do you know what the solution? What's the maximum possible sum we can get? Like this number 10 sounds interesting because it's big, but can we take it? Do you understand the problem?
Can you repeat how we get the sum from rows and columns?
So you just choose one value in each column. Let's say in each row. Let's say you chose 5 here, 8 here, 10 here. So in first row you chose the second column, in second row you chose the first column, and in third row you chose the third column. So the value of these is 23 basically, just numbers. But there are these conditions. Yeah.
Can we choose from same column?
No, it has to be. I mean, if there was, if these conditions were not here, then yes, you can use them. But for like, so rows 2 and 1, they can be from the same column. But 3 and 2 will not be able because there is this condition, which is the column chosen for third row has to be left for the column chosen for the second row. Let's just find a solution for this example. So, can we choose number 10 here?
No.
Yeah, why can't we take it? Yeah, because if we take 10 here, it means that we should take something here for columns 2 and 1, but there is nothing here, so we can't take 10. Let's say we choose 7 in this one. What can we choose for columns 1 and 2 then? 4 and 4, there is no other choice. So for this one, sum is 15. And what if we take 1 here? Can we do better? If we take 1 here, then in these two, we can take 4 here and 5 here. But that's 10. So the solution is 15. We take this, this. Okay. Okay, so this one is a little bit easier to model. We will try to model it as a cut problem. So what we will do is for each row we will make a node for each of these values. So let's try to make it for the first one. So this one, let's see represent this way. This one, the other one. Just infinities. Now what we are going to say is if we cut this edge, it means that value 5 is chosen in this row. So let me draw the other rows. You don't really need all these integers, but it's fine, just for simplicity. Infinite edges are like, in this case, they just don't mean anything much. Here. So clearly, in this graph, in each of these rows, one edge will be cut. You agree? If you cut nothing, then there will be flow. So you have to cut something, and you will cut just one edge. You cannot basically cut two of them. Okay, and we will say that cutting this edge means taking number 8 first row. Cutting this edge means taking number 2 in this row. All right. Now let's try. Can you figure out how to insert constraints into this graph now? So they are set. Because if we now just find cutting this graph, it won't be the solution. Because we can try taking cut 7, 4, 4, but we can also take a cut, 10, 8, 8. This is cut of weight 26, but it's not consistent with the rules. So let's try to add some edges and subject to the.
Wasn't the problem? Find the maximum weight.
Let's worry about it later. Let's say that we will find maximum cut here. Okay, let's say that we will find maximum cut here. Don't worry about that. I just want to make this graph such that if you choose some cut, if you choose some cut, it represents a valid choice of elements. And then we will worry about which cut to take later. Because correctly, I can take this cut, but this is not valid solution. Can we add some edges so that it's a valid
I
solution?
have an idea, but I'm not sure if it's correct. I think so.
Okay, so let's see. Third column has to be less than second. Third column in third row has to be less than or equal to 1 in second. How do we do it? Let's see. Let's say that we have taken number 7 in third row. So let's say that we cut this edge. Let's just imagine we cut it. So this is disconnected from source. And again,
Okay, so we want to prevent being able to cut the second and third from the second column.
yes.
So if we if the balls get to there, then we, so basically connect the second vertex to third in the third column.
Like this.
Yes.
Yes, I think that's true. So indeed, yes, that was correct. So for number 7, how do we make this constraint? Is we put this edge with infinity, because what this means now is that
Yeah, if we cut it, we can go from the second row and they won't be disconnected.
yes, exactly. So what this means is you must cut something here on this part.
But can we do it for every vertex on the second and third row and we will keep the row?
Yeah, we can do it.
Yes.
We have to do it for everyone. That's true. I was just thinking about this number 7, but yes, you're right. We have to do it for everyone. So what is like if you look at this one edge, what basically means is if you cut somewhere on the left side here, then you must cut on the right side here. That's all. So this is just what you do, and then for this one as well, you do it. And okay, now any cut represents valid solution, because you know if I cut 7, 4, 4, so wait, something is weird.
Okay, shouldn't the edges be from, well, the example with the constraint with 3 and 2, shouldn't the edge be like from 3 to 2, but on the next partition of the, because in this way we
Yes,
added
sorry.
the different
Yeah.
current way or so.
You're right. You're right. I was confused. So we will just have, sorry, I'll draw it again. We just have to put the edges other way.
It's same with the reverses.
Yeah, it's very similar, just edges are the other way. Let's draw it because maybe I confuse you. I was just checking that you guys all. Okay, let's see again. Row 3 has to be less than row 1. Let's see that we cut this edge. What it means. It means that we have to cut something here. Right? So how we do it is we just put edge in here. Right?
But two now.
Sorry.
Well, the condition will be with 2, not with 1.
Sorry, yes. There were both of them, so I would add both. But yes. So it is. So let's say I cut number 7. That means that there is a path from source to here. And it will just transition through this infinity here, and then it basically says now you must cut something here. Yeah.
Okay.
Because if you cut here, you did nothing. There is still path here. Makes sense? Yeah? Great.
So
So this one, Oh yeah, we are not finished. True. What's the problem? So
Find the
yes, now the cut is every cut represents a valid solution. But what we want to find, we want to find a solution with maximum sum, not with the minimum one, because we have algorithm to find the mean cut, but we don't have an algorithm to find the maximum cut. So what do?
we can find the sum of elements of each row and then assign each cell to be the sum in this row minus the value of the cell. And then from the sum of all cells, subtract the minimum.
Yeah, that will be fine. That's a big problem with an HGB. So first thing that you can think about is if you have to minimize some sum, sorry, you have to maximize some sum, but the algorithm that minimizes. First thing you can do is you can just negate all the values, and then finding the minimum is equal to finding the maximum. So we could try doing it here. But the problem is that we can't really have negative values.
Okay,
so
can we just have some large number?
Yeah, we can just set some large number. So let's say we just add some big constant. Okay. So that everything is positive. And why can we do it? You can't do this always. But in this case you can do it because it won't really change the value of the cut. Let's say that value of a cut before was what we wanted. Like it was a good value for us. But now the value of a cut will be changed. So what will be equal to? It will be equal to
It works because the number of edges in the cut is constant.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So number of edges in a cut is always n. We always cut one in each row. So because we can't cut these. So the number of edges in a cut is constant. That means that we only added a times 8 to the value of that. So now we can take this cut, find the minimum, and then extract C from here. So C is just C like this. No, it's other way. Okay, yes. Right. So this is also shows you how we can sometimes switch from these to this. Okay, I didn't really have much faith for this problem. I didn't have much time either. Let's do one more problem. I have a few more interesting problems, but we don't have much time. Let's just do this one quickly. So this one is my favorite. I solved a lot of problems with it. It's you can adapt it a lot. This is not even everything you can do with this particular way of making the graph. So the other one is this is also very interesting problem. You are given a graph and you have to find a subgraph with maximum density. Did you ever hear about it problem? So first, what's a subgraph? You know what's a subgraph. It will be just a subset of nodes in the graph and all the edges between them. What's the density of a graph? Or a subgraph, doesn't it?
The ratio between the nodes.
Yes, it's the other way. It's ratio of number of edges divided by the number of edges divided by number of nodes. This is the density.
Should the graph be subgraph to be connected?
No, it doesn't have to be connected. It's just important that you will choose some nodes, and then you must take all the edges between edges. So you are given a graph, and you have to find this. All right, so this one also involves a little bit different approach. So I will just go ahead. So first thing is let's again try to think about it as choosing nodes which are going to be in our subgraph. Let's not think in terms of this. the thing is that for our subgraph, for our chosen nodes, this expression is a little bit more difficult, a little bit tricky. We have to write it in some more approachable way, such that either we sum things by nodes we took, or we sum the things between nodes we took and nodes we didn't took, things like that, because this is what float can do. But this is just what is this number of edges between all the things we took. This is tricky thing to express using flow networks. So we should try representing a little bit. First thing is let me just rewrite this expression. So I'll write a little bit smaller because I don't want paper. So this is what we are interested in. Now in our subgroup. Now we have to write it out in a little bit simpler way. So first thing we can do is this number of edges can be displayed basically as sum of degrees of all the nodes divided by 2. Right. But okay, I will write it. So think about, let's say you have like just 2 nodes connected by an edge. Their degrees are 1, you will sum them up, you will get 2, and then you divide by 2, you get 1. So if you sum up all the degrees, you will count each edge twice, divide by 2, you get number of edges. So first thing is, instead of doing this, I can sum up all the degrees of all the nodes I took. Let's say this is set as nodes I will take. But these degrees, they are constants. They are like degrees in the original graph. So I counted some edges more than I should. Let's subtract them. So the only thing I have to subtract is, so I subtract 1 for each edge ij, such that first edge is here, first node is here, and the other node is not. So does it make sense? So this expression will give me correct sum of degrees of chosen nodes. So number of nodes will be just size of the set, and I have to divide by 2, because if you remember, we said we sum all the degrees and we divide them by 2. So basically, this expression is equal to number of edges in the chosen graph. Does it make sense?
Should we have 2 instead of 1 in the double sum? Because we have degree from one side. We counted first.
But this one we don't have. For this one we don't. For J we don't have it.
No, we mean, like with the sum shouldn't it be like 2, because we divide, in the end we divide by both the size of the subset we chose and by 2. And
no, because this edge will not even be represented in this sum at the end.
oh yeah, it will be represented.
We divide by 2 because each edge is in this sum represented by 2. But this edge at the beginning, if we just look at this, it represented only once. Only when you go from I to j. And here we subtract all of them. So now we are left with all the degrees, all the correct degrees of all the nodes that we've chosen. And then we divide by 2 to get the number of edges. Then we divide by number of nodes. So this is a little bit simpler. So one thing to notice is here we sum up the constants. This is something that we can do in polynomials. And this one is summing up things between taken nodes and non-taken nodes. This is also in a cut, right? You will always cut everything between first set and the other set. So this is all good. But this is the problem. Okay. Let's say that this one, let me just make a small digression. There is this problem, it's a little bit old, but maybe you heard it. You have an, I will write it. Yes, right. So you have an array of integers. And you have to find a subarray So like part with consecutive numbers that has length at least k, and that has the largest possible average. Yeah. So let's say you take these 4 elements. Their sum is 4. You divide by 4 because you have 4 elements and average is 4. Yeah, it was
from
on
Soci
and,
5. No, not 5, 4 years ago.
I put it on Soci. So the thing is, you can see some similarity here. Here we also divide by number of taken things. So we look at this as basically average degree. You can average degree divided by 2. That's how you can see this thing as well. I just want to show you that the other thing was also average. Is this thing, and this problem is difficult to solve directly. But what we can do is we can binary search the solution, and then let's say that we make some guess g. Now we can subtract g from each of these elements, and then the only thing we want to find is a subarray with positive sum. Because if in this so let's say that this is array A, then there will be array prime where g is subtracted from each element. And let's say that we find sum of some element, that we find some subarrays is A prime. What will be this? Let's say this one. It will be pair index from 0. It will be A1 minus g plus A2 minus g. And in the end, it will be the sum of these AI minus 4g. And okay, we said it has to be larger than equal to 0. I just want to show you that it's the same as checking the binary search. Now you just put this thing on the other side and divide by 4. Then you will have a sum of AI divided by 4 less than larger than equal to g. It's equivalent. So what we did is we turned this problem with averages into problem with not averages, with just regular sums. So we can try to do the similar thing here. So let me just denote this one. It's a little bit big, so I'll just write it as E out. I just mean all the edges that come from our set are going to now let's try to binary search the solution. So this is the density. Let's try to binary search it. So we are asking, is there a subgraph with density larger than or equal to g? Okay. Now we have to rewrite this a little bit. So we can first use the same trick as in the other one. Maybe you didn't see directly, but okay. First, we can multiply this here, so we will get some taken nodes minus all the outgoing edges. Right? Okay. So in this array trick, we said we will subtract something from each element. We can actually do it here as well. So there is these many elements on the left side. So what can we do is bring this to the left side and embed it into this expression. So what's going to happen is that this becomes, yeah, makes sense. This is the same thing that we did in this array problem with the averages. Okay, now this looks much better. We have some of these are still constants, right? EI is given in the problem, and G is our guess. So this is all constants, and we sum it up over nodes we take. And this one is number of edges. So now we can try to model this using form networks. You can think about it for a second.
Такое решение на нашем complication.
Okay, first thing we can do is we can again say that we will have a decision in the cut. Should we take the node or not take it? So nodes on the left side with the source we take, others we don't. So let's say we have source on the one side and then 3 nodes. What we will do is we will say, if you take this node, then it brings this value. Because if you cut this edge, it means you take it. So we'll say cutting this brings this value. This is constant value for each node. This one is and then we can also say, for not taking it, you don't have to do anything. But I will just put values because you will see later. So either so for each node you basically decide either you take it, which means cutting this thing and contributing this value to the cut, or you don't take it, which contributes 0 to this expression. Now we basically want to express this expression using cut. So we have this part, right? So all the nodes we choose to take, they will contribute this value, we sum it up to rate. What about this? How do we express this using cut? So it means, this means you have to subtract 1 if there is a node you take and edge to node you don't take. So let's say that we take the first node. Now just imagine this, don't be confused by these 0 capacities. Let's just imagine that they are normal. We will fix it later. Then there will be, because we decided to take this node, we deleted this edge. So now this node is reachable from S.
What's an edge with capacity 1 between the nodes?
Yes, basically -1. So now if there's an edge between these two nodes, we should put here -1. Because if we decided to take this one, then it means either also take this one or subtract 1 for this edge. Does it make sense? We can also like there will be one in the opposite direction as well. It doesn't. So now if we take some cut here, we will basically get this expression, which is great. We have now few simple problems to fix, few issues to fix. It's not very difficult. So first one is we are checking if this expression can be greater or equal to 0. But yeah, so we would be great if we can find the maximum possible value of this expression and then just check if it's larger than or equal to 0. If it is, then it means answer is yes to binary such question. So just convert this to minimum problem is we can just we can multiply this by -1. Is inequality. I will write it here. I don't have much space. So what I will get is I'll just multiply this by -1. 2g and here I get plus. Okay, now this is better. I just have to apply it here. So what I do is I just change all the signs. Here as well. Because now it becomes plus. This is so at least fixed these ones, but these can still be negative. But the thing is that now you will see why I did these edges. The thing is that we will always cut for each node. We have to cut either this or this. So from these two edges, we will cut exactly one of them. Like this one, this one, this one. Exactly one of them for each pair. So what we can do is we can add a constant to both, and it will not really change the solution. It's similar to what we did before. We will not be adding it to these f's, because for these we don't know, but for these two we know exactly any of them will be selected. So we can add some constant, and then we do it only because these are not really positive. And neither are these. So we can add some constant. Let's say, trust me that the number of edges is a good constant in original graph. You can use larger number, it's fine, but the number of edges is good enough. So we just add here. All right. Let's see now what will be the value of a cut. It will be EG minus BI plus N for all the selected nodes. For all the nodes that we decided to take in the subgraph. This value plus this. Right, and we will try to minimize it. Sorry, it's not. The thing is that we also have plus for all not taken nodes. For them we just say n because we will cut this edge. So all of these, and then it should be really less than equal to 0, it should be less than or equal to n times n, right? Because I basically took this expression and I added n times 7. So some of them are here, some of them are here. But if you sum up these m's, they will be n times 7. And on the other side I do the same. So now, left side is value of a cut. And we want to find a cut that's less than or equal to n times 7. So we just find the mean cut here, check if it's less than or equal to n times 7. If it is, then such subgroup exists, and we proceed with binary search for higher values, otherwise we don't. That's pretty much it. Alright, so that's it. I actually had a few more problems which are very interesting, but we don't have time. And also for each of these categories, I have some problems that should be solved similar way. So I can send them later to you. For that, you can just write to your email addresses or something, and then I will send you problems that I didn't have time to say, and I will also send you a few examples to practice. Okay, that's it.
We're done? Bravo.
Cut time. We have 2 minutes left. If anyone has questions.